Hey everyone, today we're working on installing our Airhead Composting toilet. We have decided to install a composting toilet for a number of reasons that we'll get into in another video, but today we're going to walk you through the installation of what we're doing to install this toilet. Because the composting toilet no longer utilizes our black tank, we've actually decided to remove it from our RV. Most people will choose to leave the black tank in place because you can combine them with the gray tank, so you get more gray tank capacity. But in our case, in our RV, that is not possible because our black tank sits so much higher than our gray tank. In this cabinet here, you can actually see our black and gray tanks. This tank right here is our black tank, and this tank down here is our gray tank. And because of the height difference, there's no way that we can cap the pipe on the end and cause them to equalize. Because of that, this black tank is just taking up a whole bunch of space in here. We hope to utilize this for more battery storage and something in the future. And also the black tank sits right up against the bottom of our toilet, which makes it very difficult for us to do any venting or anything like that through the floor, which the Airhead does require some venting to draw the moisture out of the composting section. One option is just to vent the toilet out the wall, but we don't want the vent coming right out the sidewall on this side because our main door is right next to where the toilet is. Once we get this tank removed, this tank also is vented through the ceiling, just as every RV or house has to vent the plumbing. So we are going to remove this tank and use the existing vent to vent the toilet down and up out the roof of our RV. The first step in this is going to be taking all this wall down so that we can get at our C channel here that we're going to be able to take out so we can slide this tank out. All right, we got the wall out here so we can really see what we're working with, and we can easily see here's the tank. We got a lot of space above it. So this is where the toilet existing dumps into the tank. All we have to do is remove the toilet, probably cut this. Back here is the vent tube that we're actually going to vent the new toilet into, and then we're just going to have to cut out the waste side there. We'll take this out, and the tank should hopefully slide out this way. All right, it's about to get stinky here. This is our existing toilet. It's a standard Sealand Dometic unit here. We're gonna go ahead and remove the bowl and the base here. This is just a shroud that covers the portion of the base. And there's a couple bolts and a couple screws here that screw it down to the floor. And there's also a water line to it. So before we do anything else, we need to go cut the water line and cap it off. Oh man, a little bit of pressure there. Alright, we got our water line cut here. We cleaned up the end real nicely. I'm just using one of these PEX shark bite fittings. I just love these things. They're just basically push to connect. They make this job so much easier. You can actually get the crimp and the plugs and the tools, but it's a lot of stuff to carry around, and if you don't do it a whole lot, these are a lot more expensive, but they're pretty easy. Basically all we do is we just press it on and then pull tight. That's all there is to it. Also gonna cut where the toilet goes up so that we can just remove the top of the toilet.
Here we go.
Alright, first we're gonna go ahead and remove the top portion of the bowl. I'm gonna disconnect the water that goes into the bowl on the back side here just by pressing this back. Right there. So that just disconnected and spills water everywhere. Now we are going to release this giant ring here that holds the bowl onto the top of the toilet, and the toilet bowl will just lift right off. This is the same method that you use to clean the rings if you're not getting rid of this toilet, to clean the rubber rings that are underneath the toilet. Just release that there. These two pieces will come off, one in front or either side, wherever your toilet is, and it'll just pop right up like that. Alright, on to removing the base.
Oh, water everywhere.
Okay, crap. Alright, so we just released the bolts in the toilet bowl here, and we actually had a little bit of a water spill. Probably just because it was sitting on the, I'm guessing there is a grease seal at the bottom of this. There it is. Yep. So there was just a little water sitting at the bottom of the grease seal. We flushed the tank really well before we went ahead and did this, so I had a lot of water down there. It was just sitting at the bottom of this nasty seal. This is another odor potential for these toilets. If that seal goes bad, you can get odor into your RV. Isn't that nasty? Oh. There we go. All right. Go ahead and remove this flange. I might be able to spin it off though. Here we go. Nasty. So this is the end of the basement, and the black tank is down there. So now we can easily remove the black tank. Alright, so the toilet pipe that was here is gone. We got two more pipes to remove, the vent pipe back there and the drain pipe on the other side, and then we can just take the black tank out. Alright, so this pipe right here, I'm gonna have to cut because I can't unscrew it like the toilet. This is our vent pipe that vents the tank, and we're gonna use to vent the toilet. Because of the length, I'm just gonna try to cut it with a handsaw here. See the tank slipping around in there a little bit. It's loose and about ready to come out. We just have one more pipe to cut, which is the main pipe on the other side, and that I'm a little afraid that it's going to dribble a little, which is going to be gross. We do have to remove these wires. These are the wires that actually sense the level of the tank, how full it is. We have three sensors, one that's almost empty, 3/4, and a full, and then the other one's on the other side. So we're just basically going to cut all these wires. So this is the valve that actually slides in and out to open up and let the sewage flow out of the RV. We're going to attempt to cut the pipe south of the valve down here, and if anything is in the tank, hopefully that valve will prevent it from spilling out enormously. There probably will be a little bit of nasty sewage dribble out here, but hopefully not too much, as we've left this valve open for a couple hours here. So we're going to go ahead and close this valve, cut the pipe, and then we'll cut off the cable. This is a cable actuated valve on the back side with just some nippers, and we'll attempt to get the entire tank out with the valve closed and intact. Just like before, we're going to attempt to cut through this pipe here, and then we can go ahead and cut everything else and remove the tank. Didn't even dribble. All right, the tank isn't connected to anything anymore. Let's just go ahead and clip these wires for the sensors, and we can go ahead and take this bar out and slide the tank on out. Okay, let's take this C-channel off. Real slow. And I'm gonna have to cut this back here. Alright, no further than that. Alright, so there's a cable right back here that holds the valve closed, or pushes the valve closed. pushes the valve open and close. And I'm just gonna go ahead and cut that with a pair of nippers here. Cut. We need to move the wires up over the top of it so that we can slide it out, and we need to remove the flush hose that we totally forgot about on the other side. On the tank, we need to.
It's okay. Scooch it over a little bit.
Can it go down underneath there?
Yeah, it can.
There we go.
Ooh.
Wow, that's what we've been pooping into for the past 3 years. Ouch, something just stabbed me. Bye bye, black tank. Look at all the space in here.
Lots of space to work in now.
And look, all these messy wires. I can finally get all this stuff cleaned up.
It's our black tank.
Today we got our new toilet in the mail. In the box, we first found the primary toilet assembly. It included the ventilated bowl and lid assembly, which detaches from the rest of the toilet. You'll also find the liquids tank, including a cap, and the solids tank, which includes an agitator and agitator handle. The toilet also includes all the auxiliary parts needed to put it together, like the ventilation hose cuffs, the installation screws, seals, and filters, the electric fan for ventilation, an enzyme packet, and the bowl liners and a cap for the solids tank. The toilet also came with a Coco Core brick, which is required to start up the toilet. We got the toilet test fit in here now that we've got everything out. We've decided we're gonna try to get the vent hose to go down on this side. This is the piece that screws into the toilet. You're supposed to glue it in, but I think we're gonna hold off on that and try that later, depending on how this goes. We've decided that because there is still the hole underneath the toilet, that's the pee bucket there, and it kind of wants to sit into that hole. And I could try to fill just this hole, but I think what we're going to do is actually try to build a plywood plate that goes underneath the entire thing to sturdy up the whole area. The toilet itself can screw down to that. And if this bucket ever leaks or anything, it'll go onto that plate as well instead of the floor. And then we're not going to have to refinish the floor in here. Seems pretty good to me. I think I'll throw a coat of paint on this and we're gonna start working on the venting. All right, so the toilet requires ventilation, and you can see there's this little fan in this housing here. A tube comes off the toilet and goes into this, and this is actually gonna draw moisture out of the toilet. There goes the camera. Because we are actually have a pretty long run out through the roof, even though the roof vent that is existing there is designed to create negative pressure and draw air up through it, so that'll assist with drying the toilet. We are actually going to use 2 fans, one on the top and one on the bottom, to go through the floor to help push that air all the way up to the roof. We have a beam. I can see it right here through this hole. It's like right about here. So I'm going to do a test hole, basically. I think it's about this wide. I'm going to drill a test hole right in this location here to make sure that I can install another one of these on the underside of this floor. We'll go underneath and see where that hole is and see if I can drill about a 2-inch hole so that we can get the air flow through this. All right, so it doesn't look like my hole's gonna be lined up completely centered with this in that location, but it's definitely gonna be close. That doesn't smell very good.
Ta-da!
Oh, it's hot. So we've got the hole, that'll sit there. I need to extend these leads out now for the power wires. We're going to go through this wall with them over to our electrical cabinet on the other side of the wall and land them on an existing fuse that we have over there that's going to work well for this. We're going to do the same for the fan underneath, and we're going to screw them down. I'm just using these self-tapping 3/4 inch tacks. They're nice and short, real easy to work with. Just screw it down through the floor. Oh, I need a longer bit to get in there. All right, that's down. It's nice and sturdy. Now we're gonna go do the same on the bottom side. All right, these units are designed to draw air down through them. Because I'm using a second fan and a second unit, I'm actually gonna just flip this fan around upside down like that. This one's gonna be a pain, that's for sure. We got the wires for the fans connected to some wiring. We'll zip tie this up and clean it up. Goes over the top, and we got a fuse panel on the other side that we'll connect it to. All right, the next section of the install is going to be connecting this hose here to our fan. We're going to put the inline screen, which is this piece right here. See that screen right there? Inline to the hose. We're going to do that in the middle here. And the reason that we're going to be putting it in line here like this is because the air from the toilet comes in through this and it's going to go out through this, and although there's going to be a breeze, bugs can possibly fly down this pipe trying to get to the toilet, and this screen is going to stop them. This screen also comes apart so that you can clean it out every so often, because if bugs do get here and they die in there, you might need to clean this out. So we're going to put that in here so that we can easily access it. These are threaded backwards on the hoses. Spin them backwards onto there. All right, this goes in here, and I got it right about there. There it is.
There it is.
Just snug that up a bit, and that can be a little bit shorter on this end, can't it? All right, so to connect this to the existing vent, I just got one of these rubber pipe coupler thingamajiggers, just a 1.5 inch to 1.5 inch. I was able to slide it over the vent pipe on here, and it fit over the pipe that was supplied with the Airhead quite nicely. We're just gonna snug this up just a hair, and just a hair on this. And that should not go anywhere. Got our plate in here now, and we need to screw it down so that the toilet can be mounted to it. All right, we got the plate screwed down now. Now we're going to mark the edges of these metal plates on the toilet that actually hold it down, and we're going to then bring them back to those marks and screw those down as well. Okay. All right, so we got our marks for our brackets, and now we're going to take the brackets off of the toilet and use the provided screws that go pretty flush to screw them down to those locations. That. I'm tired. Alright, so now the last piece here is this final hose down to the fan unit. Alright, there's the final piece, and we're just going to go ahead and screw this in here. Again, these hoses are threaded opposite, so screw in that position, and we're just going to go ahead and pop that right into the toilet there like that.
Can you open the toilet and show us where that went?
Nope, you can't see it. It's in there. But yeah, that hose is too long. It needs to get shortened a little bit. So this is the fitting that goes to your hose and into the toilet, and you're actually supposed to glue this into the toilet with this this ring that goes around it like this. You put this in here, and then you're supposed to put this ring around it so that it doesn't come out of the toilet. And then you glue that in, and then you can still spin this, however, so that you can thread it onto the hose. Until I make sure that everything's working the way I want, I'm not going to glue anything yet. I feel like it's pretty airtight at this point, but we'll probably glue that in the future. Just like that. Down, locks into place. Last piece is the filter that goes on the other side of the tank to keep bugs and stuff from getting in there, and that's just as simple as just popping that into place. Alright, so we are just wrapping up the last piece of this toilet installation, which is connecting the power wires. We just extended the wires on the fans with a piece of 12 volt wire here, 14 gauge, although it's way larger than needed, and brought it into our main power cabinet in our RV. We have a 12 volt positive and negative bus, and all the positive is fused here. We used a 3 amp fuse that we've also used for our cell booster for connecting the fans, and they turned right on. All that's left now is to start up the toilet, and we're done. Well, here it is. We got the install finished and got the toilet all started up in the same day. Overall, the install was pretty easy for the toilet part itself. Because you're not actually doing any plumbing besides the ventilation, it really went very smoothly. The hardest part for us was removing that black tank, but that's usually not done to install one of these, but it really benefited us to be able to use the existing vent for the new toilet. It's been a few days since we've installed the toilet, and we did have an issue with smell almost right off the bat due to an installation issue. We thought that it was a leak in the ventilation hose, so we taped every connection in the hose to try to seal it up better, and it didn't solve the problem. But what we realized is the hole that we drilled through the floor and put the two fans against each other is that our flooring consists of multiple different layers, one of which is a vinyl layer that is not glued down. So what was happening is the air was getting forced down and forced underneath the flooring and actually coming out the edges of the room. That was an easy fix by taking some silicone on my finger and just wiping it around the inside of that hole that we drilled to seal everything up. We put the fans back on, and we haven't had a smell problem since. This is going to wrap up the installation part of this toilet, but we will be sharing with you guys how to use the toilet, how it starts up, how to clean it out, and our thoughts on using it in an additional video. As always, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.